record now. All right, we're good. Okay, good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen so we can just go over sort of what James went over. Oh, James, you still need to enable my screen sharing.
Yeah, I got to make you the host. Yep.
You can also just make multiple participants can share, and I can share if you do that.
Go ahead. You can screen share now.
Thank you. All right, so I have here various people's statement of facts. Most of them are fairly complete. There's just a few things in here. I believe I took most people's version 1. So if you're like, I fixed that, it's okay, because I'm pulling everyone's version 1. So basically, as James was saying, and we're just sort of going to do the exercise of this, is that you take this statement of facts that you've already written, and then you actually start editing what you've written. So then you basically look at this and make sure, is it in 3-paragraph format? Does paragraph 1 have date, time, location, address, and one summary? We've got date here, time here, location, as good of as an address as we're going to get. And then here's the summary right here. Okay. I'm going to go back here and edit in a second, but let's see. Repeating the subject nouns, so interchanging. So we've got Mazariegos and Nail and Lopez. Then we have officer. Then we have Mr. Lopez, Lopez, Nail, Mr. Lopez, Lopez. See, so you want to just really go over it again. Not as you're writing it, but after you've written it, you just want to go double check and everything. You'll notice, oh, I forgot a Mr. or I need to take one off. So you go through that. Then this is the one, number 3, that a lot of people do where you're using the same verb. So I don't think it happens here, but you want to check the verbs and make sure you're not using the same verb like was or stood or, yelled and that sort of thing, like twice in subsequent sentences. Okay, so right here we have asked to see, stood up, explained. A lot of these, though, I'm wondering if people can help me make these even shorter, right? Like what, instead of using asked to see, what verb can we use to just make it one verb? Let's see, who am I gonna call on? Kajay. Can you think of any that we replace this with?
Requested.
Good. All right. So, whoops. Offer ceremony, I guess, requested. Good. Mr. Lopez's ID. All right, so Lopez stood up to take it out of his pocket. Is there any way we can change this? Because this is stood up to take it out is fairly long. Joyce. Are you there? You're muted.
How about removed?
Can you say it the way it's supposed to read?
Okay, Lopez removed it from his pocket.
Okay. Removed it. So here's the question, though. We don't know if
okay, how about Lopez complied? How about Lopez complied?
The thing that I want to keep in here is that he was trying to stand up, but I'm trying to simplify this, right? That he was trying to stand up because that's what caused the officer now to say, sit the F down, right? So if we just say he complied, okay, we don't know really what happened.
Lopez stood up to comply.
I would even make it more simple to say Lopez stood up, period. See, you see how so now the
Alice, I'm not sure if Alice froze for anybody else. I think you froze, Alice.
Oh, did I? Okay.
No, she's been fine.
Yeah, she didn't freeze
Oh,
for
she's
me.
been fine? Okay, it was just for me. Okay. All right, sorry.
So he stood up and then he told him to sit the F down. Then right here, Lopez explained that he need to stand in order to retrieve his ID. How can we simplify this one? Because this is fairly long explanation of what happened. Griffin, can you think of a way to simplify this one? You're muted, Griffin. This one's a little bit complicated. Feel free to raise your hand if you can think of something, because this is a little bit more difficult to figure out. Let's see if you got anything, Griffin?
No.
Who can help? Raise your hand if you feel like you can simplify this sentence. Let's see if Okalani can help out. Okalani, any ideas on how to simplify this sentence?
I guess my initial thought was just maybe to take out the explained that and just say, or explain that he and just say Lopez need to stand in order to achieve his ID. I'm not sure.
That's a little bit better. Okay. Or
How about breaking it up into 2 sentences? I'm stumped too.
Gio, what about you?
Gio will know.
He just got
Pressure's
booted.
on, man.
He's not in here. He got booted out.
Popped out. Okay.
Ah,
He was there a second ago. He just ran away.
Gio.
Crystal?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, shorter than, let's see. Got it. Also request Lopez stood up, also explain that he needed to stand. Yeah, how do we separate that into a smaller sentence without having 2 thoughts in the same sentence still?
This is a difficult one. I want everyone to sort of think about it.
And just to make a note here, this is often what we go through and trying to shorten things down. It's just really trying to think about different parts of the statement of facts and how we can shorten it down. And it's not always easy.
Yeah. Sometimes it is, you have to think about it hard. Well, let's first maybe keep it like this. We'll take out explain that.
Hey, good morning. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? All right. Yeah,
James,
you live right here?
You okay. Lopez need to stand in order to retrieve his ID. I would say, how can we shorten the next sentence? Nail and Mazariegos continue to yell at Mr. Lopez. Ian?
You can just say yelled at, right?
Yep, exactly. Good job. Okay. All right. Offers Nell forced Lopez to the ground. Nell punched Mr. Lopez. Office slammed Lopez. Great. Okay. And I think the rest of this has been fine. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste this into the next one. Let's see. These are mostly done, so you're not going to have to do a whole bunch. Let's see. Hold on a second. Here we go. Again, 3-paragraph summary. Yes. Do the pronouns and the nouns, are they, please check and see that they are appropriately back and forth. So Chauvin, Mr. Floyd. So the issue with this one right here is that it's he and his. And so it can be confusing about who is he and who is his, right? So how should we rephrase this? Let's see. Griffin, how should we rephrase this?
Chauvin places his knee on Floyd's neck.
Placed a knee on Floyd's neck. Okay. We don't need full names once we get into the second paragraph. So what should this one be? Joyce.
He,
It's better if we just keep all the names in. So if we kept all the names in, like try not to use he as much as possible. Every once in a while it's okay, but like as a rule, try not to use he, she, and just try to use names. So instead of
and
Joyce,
just Floyd,
what was that,
Floyd.
Joyce?
Just Floyd. Wait, no, Mr. Floyd.
You. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
As a result, okay, so then we checked the pronouns, repeating verbs. I think that we don't have any of those. Do we have too many commas? I don't really see that many commas in this one. Active voice. We made sure that everything's active voice. We looked through here, right? And dates and times, make sure the dates and times are correct. Right, and commas, whatnot. Minneapolis, Minnesota, there's a comma. Okay. All right, the last one. Sorry, let me copy and paste this again. All right. So we're looking at dates and times on this incident took place on June 27th down here. Okay, what's missing? Kajay.
From the second sentence, whether it's morning or evening, so
Right,
either AM or PM.
so let's just put PM just for, okay. The location was Nanterre, France. Police officer Florian M. shot Nahel Marzouk. What is missing at the very end of this, Griffin?
A period.
There we go. Okay, so everyone needs to be like reviewing this so you don't miss things like periods and commas. You have to reread after and check and see. Do I have 3 paragraphs? Are there periods where there should be? Are the times written correctly? Okay. Repeating, let's see, where are we? Repeating the nouns. So we have Mr. Marzouk, Mr. Marzouk. Right here, we've got Marzouk and Marzouk in the same thing right here. Everybody see right here? Marzouk later stopped. Mr. Florian held Marzouk. So it should be Mr. Which means that right here, we need to take it out. Okay, so it's back and forth and back and forth. And right here, we probably want to do Mr. Marzouk and then Marzouk. Okay, and then there's an accidental S right here. Okay. All right, so make sure that that's done. We've got Mr. Florian and Florian. Oh, sorry, Mr. Florian is here. Then we have another Mr. Florian, so we have to like take that out. Right? And then we can also change it up and put officer Florian. And then we can just get rid of the driver. We can write Marzouk. Okay. So Officer Florian shot Marzouk. Okay. Here we go. Mr. Marzouk. Okay. So see how we can, when you're looking at this checklist, you're going to find things that are wrong because you have to like use the checklist to go through everything, right? Too many commas. Are there too many commas? I don't think there were. No. Then we go back. Active voice construction is everything active voice. Drove, signaled, ran, stopped, held, pulled away, shot, died. Okay. and then the numbers, the dates, we fix that, the dates, and then prepositional phrase. Okay, so we look at all that, okay? And then this one right here, Mazuk's parents are seeking justice, so we need to write down what are they seeking specifically in this particular case. Also, he died, so we can Mazuk's parents. Well,
It should really, like, this is the, you don't want to do it like that, Alice. Like, we just want to say, you know, he left behind his parents, right?
oh, shouldn't we?
And-
Okay, so it needs to be, should it be, he left behind his parents versus his parents lost a child?
Yeah, something to that effect. And then also they, you know, they suffered emotional and financial damage or something, you know, something to that effect. But just saying, hey, somebody's seeking justice, we don't want to do that. That's too nebulous and too, you know, it's not specific enough.
Okay, damages and like, they are seeking like compensation, James, is that cool?
Yeah, well, okay, so you want to say they suffered emotional and financial damage, period.
Yes.
You know, we don't have to put in that they're seeking compensation. In fact, we don't,
Okay.
you know, because that's the lawsuit's going to say that.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Marzuk died. Marzuk's parents lost a child. They suffered emotional and financial damages. Okay. All right. Any questions on the editing process of how you should be looking at it once you write it? Anybody?
By the way, that's a perfect elevator pitch right there, right? If you combine, you bring the up as a result up. If you take away the carriage return, this is how it should be. You get on the elevator with Mr. Burris at the 11th floor, and then you have like pretty much 30 seconds, and this is exactly how you do it. Or you get on the elevator, you know, phone with me, or you write it. You send an email with the proper subject line, summary, and this is exactly how it should look. Or actually, if you could take away the carriage return, Alice, as a result, bring it up after Mr. Mazuk.
There isn't a carriage return. I'm
Or,
confused.
you know, put your cursor at as a result,
Uh-huh.
and then bring it up in front of Mr. Mazuk.
It's up. It's all on the same line, James. I'm not sure what you're
Oh,
saying.
it is? Oh, it looks like different lines to me.
Are you looking at it on the phone?
Yeah.
No, so it's just all on one line.
Okay. But yeah, that's how you send the that's how you send the
The elevator pitch?
summary. The elevator pitch, the case summary. That's all it has to be.
But you want it to be the first and last paragraph only minus the second paragraph, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we need to delete this. So let me go back up to the first one. So what James is saying is that, first of all, an elevator pitch, the reason why, anyone can guess why it might be called an elevator pitch? Ian, take a guess.
Because you're supposed to be able to pitch in the time it takes you to get up and down the elevator.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so it's fairly short. Elevator pitches are usually 30 seconds, right? So if we were to read this whole thing right here, this very first one right here about nail, it's probably going to take like a little bit longer than 30 seconds, right? Maybe 45 seconds. And so you really want it to be just the first and last paragraph. Okay, so you're not going to change anything. You're just going to take out the second paragraph. And so then you want to be able to just explain, hey, this is what happened. This is where, when, you know, where and when. And then you already have the sentence right here in the first paragraph, which is Nail used excessive force on Julio Lopez when he beat him. Well, actually, we need to change it into two sentences, right? It should be Nail beat Julio Lopez. Mr. Nail used excessive force. Okay, so it should be two sentences, but in any case, it still has a very brief description of what happened, and then a very brief description after as a result what happened. So you're not going to change the way that you're writing the statement of facts. You'll write it the same, but you'll take out the second paragraph, and then this becomes your elevator pitch. So in this one, the incident took place on May 25th. So we're going to delete the whole Mr. Chauvin and then just go straight to see how short it is. incident, time, location. Derek Chauvin used excessive force when he killed George Floyd. Again, this one should be 2 sentences. Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd. He used excessive force. As a result, Mr. Floyd lost his life. He leaves behind a young daughter. Okay. Same thing for this one.
Hold on real quick. Just, it is most important that in a death case that you find out if the person was married and if they left behind children, because then it'd be he left behind a wife and the names of the children. All right. Or, you can put the children's names in, but it's important because it changes what we do for the whole case. Meaning if you tell the attorney right away or whoever you're pitching the case to, Alice or Crystal, then they'll know, like, okay, this is a death case and we need to include successor and interest documents. That's a really important part. So because when we go to court, the judge is like, well, who are the successors and interests? It becomes a big, huge thing. So you have to say who they leave behind. And it is you always have to ask if they had children or if they're married.
Can you do a slightly deeper dive for people who don't know what that technical term is, successor and interest? Can you explain that?
All right. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So here's the deal. Whenever you sue someone, which is what you guys will be doing, you'll be writing lawsuits next. Whenever you sue someone, in order to sue, you have to have standing to sue. What that means is, you have to be the right, you have to be the proper party. Not just anybody can sue anybody. Like, you got to show that you're injured and that, you have some relation to the incident. All right. It seems straightforward, but it's not. So you have to show that you have standing. So the people that have standing in a wrongful death case are what we call successors and interests. That's a legal term for wife or a spouse, I should say, not wife, but in a lot of cases, because most of our clients are young Black and brown men, usually there's maybe a wife or there are children. All right. And they have the standing to sue. Okay. It's not your mother and your brothers and sisters. It's the children and your, people in the vertical line. Right. So, and the children always have the greater ability to sue. In California, it's our succession is per stirpes. You'll learn this when you take trust and estates, how property passes after a person dies if they don't have a will. So it passes per stirpes, meaning it's like a strike. So when you die, whoever's above you, which would be your mother and father, and then whoever's below you, which would be your children, your siblings are considered on the outside, vertical or horizontal to you, your aunts and uncles. So they don't have any automatic interest in your estate unless you assign it to them in a will. So the state says if a person dies without a will, then the person above them and the person below them have a right to bring claims on behalf of their estate. It's a lot of legal speak, but yeah, I mean, I think that above and below, and again, the stripe analogy. So, but if there are children, those children have the greater ability to do that. They have more of a stake in the lawsuit than the parents. All right. So does that help? I mean, those are your successors and interests. And so, okay, let me continue. So when we file a lawsuit, we say, okay, these are the people that are suing. And then we have to write a separate document to tell the court, hey, we need you to appoint these people as successors and interest and acknowledge that they are. All right. Especially in most cases where we're talking about young brown and Black men, if they have multiple children and sometimes multiple children from different mothers, we have to get some type of certification that someone is acting on behalf of those children if they're minors. Or in the case of adult children, like we just went through with Lopez, they have to acknowledge that they want to be inside of the lawsuit. So they have to say, hey, I want to be in a successor and interest, and this is how we're going to set it up for the court. You don't get to just go in and just say, you can't just sue somebody. It's a little bit more complicated than that. One of the very first times I appeared in front of Judge Corley, I was a new lawyer, and I did not understand the whole successor and interest process. On Law and Order, I figure, yeah, we got the lawsuit filed, we're good to go. I get to court, and Judge Corley says, "Hey, like, where are the successor and interest declarations?" And then she proceeded to lecture me for like 5 minutes in front of the whole galley in terms of like how I screwed that up. And she's gonna give me one more chance, but she's watching me, she's keeping her eyes on me, so and the judges will do that when you screw stuff up as an attorney the first time. So I learned my lesson. I'll never make that mistake again. And hopefully I'm passing that knowledge on to you guys so that you don't make that mistake. Back to Alice.
Okay, Ian, can you repeat back what your understanding of successor in interest is?
So you need the successor and interest documents to establish that the person who's suing like actually has a stake in whatever happened, like whatever incident had happened. And so successor and interest is like proving their relationship to the victim per se, so that the successor, that the kid or the parents. So I think that the kids have priority over the parents in terms of like getting compensation for whatever, or if like an estate is left behind, they'll get it instead of the parents. But you need to bring that to court to show that they, actually suffer damages from the incident. And if they're kids, I think they need special documents that need to be filled out.
Good.
That's perfect. Better than I said it.
Cool.
Great summary, Ian. Awesome.
I heard you say correctly that the kids have priority over the parents of the deceased. What if there was a spouse? Who has priority? This is for Ian. The spouse or the children?
I think the children.
Is
that all right?
I believe it's a spouse. James?
Okay.
No, they're pretty equal, but really they have equal. But you default to the children. In reality, everybody defaults to the children. So under the law, it's equal. So Ian's guess was right. However, when it really gets down to brass tacks in the settlement, and Crystal's done 1 million of these, by the way, for the minors compromise, they're kind of treated as equals, the spouse and the children. But everything is really all about setting everything up for the children.
Okay, awesome. I also want to so James has been in this for quite some time. So frequently he may use a technical term and make it sound like you should already know. So I don't want anyone to not ask. I don't know what this means because the way he's saying it sounds like, oh, you should all know this. So please ask if you don't know what something is that James is saying, because a lot of times he sort of forgets that it's a technical term. And it seems like, oh, because he uses this every single day. So for him, it's like, it's his normal language. So please don't let that deter you from asking and raising your hand and saying, I don't know what that means. Okay. And I don't want you to feel like, oh, I don't want to be the only person here that doesn't know what that means. I don't want to raise my hand. Just ask.
Every single term, yeah. You please ask, because I will do that. It's hard for me to explain it because I've been doing it for so long, but I didn't understand any of that stuff even when I became a lawyer. I had no clue. I just had to learn by getting yelled at by judges. And Mr. Burris.
Okay. Do we just go ahead and sign the homework assignment now, James, or was there anything else that you needed me to go over?
No, really, the assignment is to write the successor, write the elevator pitches. So you're basically writing the statement of facts without the middle paragraph, and send them to us, and that's kind of it. Then probably what we'll have you do is we'll assign you people to contact. Alice will get into that later on this week, and then you'll contact people. And basically what you're doing is, the bottom line is you're going to have to either read like a file and write a summary about a potential case, or you're going to have to call someone and talk to them and they're going to want to give you a whole lot of information. You're going to have to manage them, and then you're going to have to distill it down to exactly what we taught you today, which is the elevator pitch, the summary. This is the case summary. Okay. So it might be a file. Hell, it might be a news article. Sometimes we never have any of the information about the case. So you have to read 2 or 3 news articles about it and distill it down to this. But we'll get more into like when you're talking to people on the phone, how difficult it is to manage them, and you'll, oh, I really want to help them, and you got to be objective, keep your emotions out of it, and really just distill it. In the meantime, I think we were just going to ask people if they're, what they're getting out of this so far, and if they're really able to follow along, how confident they are they could do some of these assignments. I'll leave that to Alice to go around the room.
Yeah, we can do that. So what I'm going to do is, the question really is, well, what I'd like people to answer is not so much what you're getting out of it, but what was one thing you've learned so far, either today or that sticks out in your mind the past week. Let's start with Kajay.
I think something that's been sticking with me is just how much this entire process builds on each other, just like the steps that it takes to actually build a case and kind of where you're beginning. And I'm thinking about the connection between the statement of facts and the elevator pitches. So I would just say that that's an example of something that has stuck with me. I do have a clarifying question about the assignment though.
Yep.
If that's okay to ask. Okay. So it's 3 elevator pitches, and these are 3 different stories than what we've done previously. Okay.
I don't think, James, should it be something that they did previously, or can they be new ones that they get?
No, new ones. Do something new.
Yeah. Just go find 3 other articles about 3 different things and then write elevator pitch.
Or something that you already know about, but yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thanks, Kajay. Griffin.
I think that I learned like the style of writing the statement of facts is just very different to what I've written before.
Okay. So it's very different style of writing. Okay, great. Ian.
I think I've been very conscious of the amount of documents that was like involved in this, and the importance of like having your shit together, basically. Like knowing exactly what you have to do.
Okay. So like having really a list of the things that you have to do.
Yeah, and I mean it's like being confident what you know you're gonna do, because like whenever you're working with the client, it's like not somebody that you're working with, you're kind of like doing everything for them. So
Yeah. Well, there's so many times that you have to guide them. Everyone just has to be really confident in guiding your clients. You can't shy away from the fact that, most of you will be younger than the clients. You can't feel insecure because of that. You can't feel like, oh gosh, like, I'm just whatever, a young 20-year-old and this person's 40. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you have to be the authority when you're handling clients. It does not matter like that they're a school principal. It doesn't matter. They're looking to, us, like meaning the law firm, as the authority. So as a representative of the law firm, even though you might feel like you're new, you might feel like, oh, I'm not really sure what I'm doing. You might feel like, this person has higher stature in life because, oh, they're a school director, school principal. It doesn't matter. Like, you need to show up and be the authority. Otherwise, they lose confidence in the firm. So you need to show up and be like, hi, I'm here to help you. I know more than you do. Not that you're going to say that, but they're coming to us for advice. So that's how you need to show up. And if you don't know something, as I mentioned before, I'm repeating it again, it's okay to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that, but let me ask someone who will know the answer, and I'll get back to you. Okay. And always be confident.
Yeah, on that, on what I said and Ian, as a clerk, one of the first clients I dealt with came from one of my favorite groups, Tony Tone, right? They had a case. Burris represents a lot of celebrities, but in particular, I remember this specific thing, and he comes in and I'm like, oh man, like I love your music. Man, I just, I've been listening to Tony Tone, and I love Raphael Sadiq now, and it's, the greatest thing ever. Mr. Burris takes me aside and is like, dude, you can't be like gushing over the clients. Like, they're coming here and they're expecting you to be the professional and guide them. And you guys have to be like that too, because most likely you're going to represent or you're going to be dealing with somebody who is a celebrity, sports stars, in the media, actors. I mean, he's represented a lot of, I mean, you guys already know that, or maybe you don't know that he represented like Tupac, for that case. I mean, much before he died, and Ryan Coogler, just all these people that I mean, Clint Eastwood, in fact, and they wrote a book about it. So just, well, maybe you guys are too young to know who some of those people are. Maybe you know Tupac, but maybe you don't. But anyway, they were big stars. So, but you have to act, you have to be ready to sort of take charge and manage the client and be the authority.
Joyce, what about you?
I guess I would have to say that the degree of simplicity that I'm writing with, I think that I suffer from like over complex writing. That's really helped me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for
Just-
people who are not used to it, it tends to be difficult at first. Like you sort of have to unlearn what you
Mhm.
know to relearn it. So I can understand
Yeah,
how that would be difficult.
even when I think that I'm writing simple and straight, it's I realize that there's still a lot more that I can cut out.
That's
Okay.
totally my problem, Joyce. Like, I had such a hard time. I mean, I before this, before I was working in software and all that kind of stuff, I was a freelance journalist, writer, and I'm writing for like, I mean, I had a master's degree in this, and I'm writing for Rolling Stones, for Vibe, for Village Voice and their subsidiary magazine. So I was, doing professional writing. It was hard because like going to law school was really difficult because the way that they wanted you to write, and the professor would be like, yeah, you're writing too much. I'm like, this is fuck, I got paid to do this, I mean, part of it was my ego, but the other thing was, yeah, you got to learn how to, it's difficult, and it did not serve me well on the bar. So I had to learn how to do all this stuff. But so yeah, I get it. I'm right there with you.
All right. I think that's everyone. Okay. So if you can send those things in by 10 a.m., that'd be great. All right. And then we'll see you all on Wednesday. Thank you. Bye.
See you
Thank
later,
you.
folks.
Thank you.